My name is Mr. Ward, and when I first met the senior that I'm introducing today as her seventh grade math teacher, I was distressed. She very strongly reminded me of a wonderful former student from a previous school who had suffered a tragic misfortune from her environment. The senior I'm introducing today became very important to me. Could she fulfill Ann Richards' promise to give every girl a future built on her potential and not her life circumstances? Could this senior escape an undesirable fate? As I feared, life was not gentle with the student either. Again and again, misfortune befell her. And yet, it is with greatest pride that I introduce Vanity Flores. Vanity has beaten the odds, she's bested fate, she's successful, capable, full of potential, and poised to move forward into a life full of promise and accomplishment. She's brought me hope. But more importantly, I think she brings hope to all young girls who see themselves in her.
For many of us, we have or we will experience a point in our lives when things just absolutely fall apart. When any and everything happens at once, and we feel we have so much on our plate, it's almost impossible to keep fighting. In times like these, the easiest thing to do is give up. Because you're just extremely tired of fighting a constant fight, as if you can't keep pushing because you're so mentally and physically drained from being kicked around by life. For me, I know these feelings all too well. It was something I dealt with on a daily basis throughout high school. With an overwhelming amount of stress on my plate, I just wanted so badly to have a peace of mind, to be comfortable, to be at ease. I crave a sense of stability in my life in all aspects, financially, academically, and mentally. But the one thing I knew was I am not entitled to a life like that. Because when I look at the fate of my family's generations before me, all there was a life of addiction, poverty, high school dropout, and imprisonment to inherit. And this was not the life I wanted to envision for myself, but it was the only thing I've ever had to look up to. So early on, I decided I wanted more for my life than the generational fate that seemed to be set in stone. But this would ultimately be the biggest battle to fight. Throughout my time at Ann Richards, I was faced with a number of challenges. One of the most difficult being having an ill parent for nearly my entire high school career. My mother developed a number of health issues ranging from a severe sleeping disorder to skin, back, and stomach issues. Watching the energetic woman I once knew deteriorate mentally and physically throughout the years also came with a wider range of responsibilities. Because of the incredible loyalty that I felt towards my mom, I took on the role as her self-appointed caregiver. Spending most of my time driving from doctor visit to emergency room visit to school to work, worried about every test result and worried about every procedure. Between the stress of school, work, and my new set of responsibilities, I began to drown in an overwhelming amount of stress, and it would later have a negative effect on my mental health. In the midst of all the chaos I was experiencing, the universe decided to hit me with more. Not one, but two devastating car accidents where the cars were left completely totaled. Walking away from these traumatic experiences left me grateful, but also extremely terrified. I remember crying and begging not to ever have to get into another car again because for a long time I dealt with vivid flashbacks of those nights. Every time I stepped into a car, all that would run through my head were images of the car I was in, flipping 3 times into oncoming traffic, coming in and out of unconsciousness, screaming for help as I was trapped in an overturned car in the middle of the highway. Feeling the shock, heat flashes, and a racing heart took over my body every single time. These, along with many other obstacles I faced, led to the ongoing battle of my fight with severe anxiety and depression. It was exhausting, to say the least, being at a constant battle with my own mind, experiencing a type of tired that sleep just couldn't fix. So I often found myself in a state of anger. Angry at how much I was having to deal with before even turning 18. Angry at how behind or less than I felt when I looked at the lives of others around me. They were thriving and accomplishing so much, living the lives I wish I had. all while I was struggling. Having to work 10 times harder for a life of opportunities that they were just handed. So thoughts of giving up ran through my mind constantly, because things only seemed to become more increasingly difficult for me. And I was exhausted of pushing through all the baggage. And if I'm honest, there was a time that I almost did. I didn't want to finish school. I didn't want to have to keep working 2 jobs and working 32-hour work weeks. Didn't want to have to watch my mother be in so much pain or battle with my mental health every day. But I sit back and ask myself, why am I doing this? What's the point? Just let my generational fate run its course. So what? My whole family did it. Completely ready to give up as my mom kneeled before me, tears in her eyes because she knew what was happening. She saw how devastated and done I was, so she reminded me how much I have already overcome and how much I will overcome, how much I am capable of and how much I will accomplish. I am too young and I have been through too much to quit now. So I continued pushing and I will continue pushing, reminding myself every day of the life that I want. Overcoming my family's generational curse of unsuccessfulness, battles with mental health, trauma, and enormous responsibilities have been the main experiences to aid me into maturing into an empowering, capable, and independent student who can manage obstacles both academically and personally. I'm happy to say that despite all these challenges that I have faced, I will be graduating this year as a first-generation student to continue my education in college until I get the life I want for myself, not the one I was born into. And with that, I'm here today to remind you that when you find yourself fighting tooth and nail in a difficult life or situation, and feeling as if every step forward you get pushed 1,000 steps backwards, remember everything you have faced, all the battles you have won, and all the fears you have overcome. Find the strength to persevere in spite of the overwhelming obstacles, because these experiences do not define us. Your willingness to overcome them do. Do you ever find yourself looking at others around you, thriving, and think to yourself, why isn't that me? Why am I not there? Remember that those around you aren't in the same situation as you. In most cases, they haven't experienced the same sort of struggle, and they're not, in most cases, dealing with life-altering trauma. So they absolutely have the advantage over you. They're free to grow and develop while you're struggling to survive each day. So it's okay if you're not at the same place as them right now. I had to remind myself every day about the strength and the resilience it took to get myself through every situation I have endured. But let me tell you, it is possible to overcome those obstacles that seem impossible. It's far from easy, but you can beat the odds and be successful despite any challenges you may be facing, whatever it may be. We all face our own silent battles, some more than others, but remember this. Be strong-willed, be successful, shine no matter what the circumstances you have or may encounter. Move towards your greatness. You have so much potential. Thank you.